get started today, I wanted to share something truly transformative that I've just started incorporating into my skincare routine. You will have seen me talk about the Current Body LED mask. Now level up your LED experience further with the Current Body Skin LED Neck and Décolletage Perfector. It harnesses the power of clinically proven red and near-infrared wavelengths which accelerate collagen production. And 95% of users reported improvements. And I agree, my skin feels more youthful, plump and radiant. It's a game changer for glowing skin, or if you have skin concerns like redness, rosacea or sun damage. It's 100% safe, pain-free and portable, perfect for consistent use. Head over to currentbody.com and use my discount code StyleDNA for 15% off. Today, I'm going on a style journey with the award-winning BBC broadcaster, TV personality and DJ, cancer survivor and marathon record holder, the remarkable Adele Roberts. Hello and welcome,
Wow.
Adele and Audrey, I should say.
Yes, we're both here. Thank you so much for having us on, Amanda.
Oh my goodness, it's a pleasure to meet you and to have you here. Because your book, Personal Best, From Rock Bottom to Top of the World, has just recently come out. So let's just talk about that for a moment.
Yeah. Do you know, I spent a lot of the time thinking about that book around here,
Really?
running up and down the Thames, training for the marathon.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's my favourite bridge just over there.
What, the Albert Bridge?
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I used to run across that over to Battersea Park,
Yeah.
to the big Buddha,
Lovely.
the Golden Buddha.
I go
run
to the
round there.
Golden Buddha most mornings with my dog.
Amazing. And I used to dream of, well, I used to think about reclaiming my body from cancer and dream of one day being fit enough to run the marathon again. And it happened.
Was visualization an important part of, A, your marathon record and actually more importantly, getting that cancer out of you?
Absolutely. I think that I've realised as I've got older how powerful the mind is. And I think quite often the mind can carry
I've got
on.
goosebumps now.
Yeah, no, totally. The mind can carry on when the body feels like it's going to fail. And I think that the mindset was key to me getting through cancer and also recovering from cancer. And it's a daily goal in my head to make sure that I keep moving forward and don't look backwards. So visualization without a doubt.
So do you have a sort of morning routine to get yourself into that headspace?
Yeah, I do actually. I understand now how important the senses are. So I try and have nice smells. I try and treat myself better. I've got much better at self-care. So anything that touches my body, I try and have it something that makes me feel good. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it needs to make me feel good. I am very mindful of not putting junk into my body, either through eating it, which I used to do all the time, and especially through my eyes. So I try not to consume too much negativity on social media. So if I feel like I'm starting to feel sad, I'll take myself away, because I really feel like anything that enters your body stays within you.
Yeah.
And a lot of bad things had happened to me over my lifetime, and in a way I feel like that's where the cancer came from. Me not dealing with my problems, me trying to ignore it.
That's fascinating. We'll excuse the helicopters because
No
we're on the
problem.
flight path,
Yeah.
so we'll just keep on going. So you've felt that sort of toxicity just sat within you.
Yeah, I did, and I was sad and I was down for a long time. In the book I talk about losing my auntie, and I was about 23 at the time. And I'd had a hard life up until that point, but losing her, she was an amazing woman. She was like you. She was classy. She was somebody that I aspired to be, and she was one of the good things in my life, and somebody that I could relate to, but somebody that I could try and aim to be like. And sadly, she passed away really suddenly. And that sent me on a downward spiral, and I couldn't really deal with my feelings. I didn't know how to grieve for her. I also felt bad as well because my cousins had lost their mum, but then here's me feeling terrible inside, like I'd lost a mother figure to me, but I couldn't verbalise that to them. So I did a really stupid thing and went on a national TV show called Big Brother and just almost thought, I'm going to run away from reality and go and sit in this TV show and pretend it's not happening. And that was sort of like the start of my downward spiral. And it was for many years that I found myself in a bad place.
Grief is a very, very complex thing. And everyone has a different way of processing it, in my experience.
Yeah.
And but wonderful that you are here today with bells on and a beautiful jumpsuit on.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that. I brought this to try and impress you.
Oh, well, tell me about it.
Okay, so this jumpsuit is, well, my girlfriend helped me pick it out, so I'll be honest with you. But I've been watching your Instagram a lot, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not the best with clothes. So this is one area of my life where I'm trying to get better. And I noticed that you said this season whites and light colours are in. And I always wear...
I'm glad I put this sweater on this morning.
And I am someone who always wears black. So I found, I think when I was like not very well and not in a good place, wearing black helped me blend into the background. So that's where I feel safe. So I'll often wear black. But if I want to show up or try and put out good energy, I'll wear lighter colours. So this jumpsuit is... Are they like resale shops? So it's like a designer brand,
yes.
But it's been owned by somebody else. And then,
brilliant.
Yeah, and it's I'll need help saying the label, but it's Sonia, right?
Sonia Riccial.
There you go.
Yeah, you mentioned it because I commented on it the moment you arrived. But it's so chic because it's sort of got this tailoring vibe, and yet you've got this sort of very sporty feel about it too. The sort of drawn waist and the the way that the sort of jogger type pant on as part of the jumpsuit.
Yeah, I love jumpsuits. They make me feel very comfortable, and I think it's because the top and the bottoms match, so I don't have to worry about that. That's one less decision. And then also I have a stoma, and usually jumpsuits sit nicely around my stoma and give me room to expand if I need to.
That is interesting. I am going to come on to Audrey, your stoma, but just in terms of your book, but I want to hear a tiny bit more about that. So you were writing it in your head as you were training for the marathon. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, well, I guess I didn't know I'd have a book because I didn't feel like I was the sort of person who could write a book. I didn't know I had a book in me. I think it was more that I was writing the story of the marathon in my head. So when I woke up from my surgery, the removal of the bowel cancer, I really felt like I had a second chance at life. And I thought, you've got to almost live every single day like a mini lifetime. And you have to get yourself back on track. Don't make that mistake of last time when you lost yourself to grief. There was a part of grieving for my old body because I've now got a new body. I woke up from the surgery, realised that I had a stoma because that wasn't necessarily going to happen. So it was only when I woke up that I definitely knew I had a stoma. And I remember...
How did that feel, actually, that moment, I mean, that you woke up and realised that you had the stoma?
I think I was so grateful to be awake and alive that I was so grateful to have a stoma, and I knew that stoma was essential to me surviving the surgery. Yeah, I had to have it. And I remember peeling back the covers and looking down and seeing Audrey for the first time.
When did you name her Audrey?
So that was a couple of days later. And we had some great nurses in hospital who said some people name their stomas to help them sort of get their head around this massive change to their body. So I was like, okay. And they went, think of a name. So they came back the next day and they said, have you thought of a name? And I said, oh, yeah. And they said, what's your stoma called? And I said, Audrey. And they went, oh, Audrey Hepburn. I said, no. Have you seen Little Shop of Horrors? And then the nurses' faces were like, what? And it's because in Little Shop of Horrors, there's a plant that's a Venus flytrap that looks like Audrey. It's kind of like like a little mouth. So that's what Audrey's named after. So not Audrey Hepburn, but the plant from Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, you know, when I think of the name of your book, From Rock Bottom to Top of the World, I think, you know, as human beings, it's only natural at any moment, sort of at a point in our lives that we do hit rock bottom for whatever reason, grief or health or whatever it is. But I do feel that your book is sort of a real beacon of hope for those people who may be at a rock bottom moment, because you are just here and glowing and just sort of, you know, exuding health and positivity when this time, 2 years ago, you were
in a bad place.
In a bad place.
Yeah. Thank you, Amanda. That makes me so happy because that's what I wanted to try and do. I think that I say in the book it was the ultimate setback, but it was also the ultimate comeback. And I think that all sorts of things happen to people, and some people don't even feel like they can share and talk about it. So I hope my book finds those people. I hope that they see themselves reflected in the book, and I hope they know that if you don't give up, you can't be stopped. And
Oh, I love that line. If you
No,
don't
absolutely.
give up, you can't be stopped.
Yeah. And I've seen that from my mum and dad. They've had much, I think, tougher lives than I have, but they never gave up, and they always loved us. I've come from very humble beginnings, but the one thing I knew that, is that if you feel like you've got people that love you, and you feel like you will just always keep going and moving forward, no matter how small, then you can achieve anything. I really believe that.
Yeah. And how lucky are we to have partners and family that love us.
Yeah.
And, I often think of that, if I'm having a sort of lower moment, and I think of a friend who has no parents and has no family in this world, and that must be, that's really tough.
Yeah, definitely. I've grown up around a lot of people. I grew up on various council estates, and I talk about that in the book. I went to 7 different schools. We were always being moved around by the council, and it was always chaotic in our house, but it was always filled with love. And I look at my friends that maybe didn't fare as well as me, and that gives me a lot of guilt. But I also know, I think the reason that they didn't do as well as me is because they didn't have those people that love them. And so I feel incredibly lucky all the time. For if you have someone in your life that like fights for you and loves you, I think you're the richest person in the world.
I totally am with you on that one. I really, really am. I here's to that.
Yes.
So you grew up in this lovely household with the oldest of 6 siblings. Were you very aware of your parents' style growing up?
Oh, absolutely. My mum, especially, do you know what's really strange? Like, my mum sadly passed away at the start of this year. And so people have been...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Big one.
People have been sending me photos of her when she was younger, and I don't really remember her because I was a baby, and she was so stylish. She was like so cool. But because when I sort of like could remember my mum and she was looking after lots of kids, she always sort of gave us everything that she should have had herself. And so she didn't really take care of herself, and especially in terms of dressing. And I think that is something that I had to learn later on in life, because I didn't take care of myself, and I used to dress a very different way. And my partner Kate's been really good at helping me understand that dressing and style can be a form of expression. It's not vain to look good.
It's self-love.
It really is self-love, and I've learned that lesson now. And it's not like my mum ever said, if you take care of yourself, you're vain. But I think that she always made sacrifices so we were the ones that had the things, and she never,
6 kids to look after.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not surprised.
So she'd always have like baggy T-shirts or leggings on, and she never sort of like looked after her appearance. And looking back, I feel sad now. I feel like, I wish I'd have like, I don't know, got a paper round and bought her a top or something, because she deserved it, because she was an amazing woman, but I don't think her clothes reflected that. And so that's something I'm working on, to hopefully honour my mum and say, Mum, I'll dress nice for you too.
That's a lovely, lovely thought. I mean, you have 3 sisters?
There's, that's right. Yeah, 4 girls. Yeah, that's right.
Were you very conscious of each other's style growing up, or?
Yeah, my sisters are beautiful. They are the stylish ones. So they do look after themselves.
Can we just hold a mirror up? Please, stop it.
Well, I think when I was younger, I was thinking about this the other day. If anybody mentioned my appearance, it would be that I was masculine, or I was a tomboy, or I don't think anybody ever made me feel good in terms of appearance. And I think I never really fit in. My hair was always weird, or my skin was too dark, or it was too light. And so I didn't really focus on the way I looked. I think when it came to my body, I was more sporty, so I knew it could work well, but I didn't think it looked good. And so I think again, I'm trying to change that mindset.
Because I'm doing my research, you were definitely a lot larger than you are now.
Absolutely.
And I was just wondering, what was your approach to dressing back then?
Really bad, I'll be honest with you. As soon as puberty hit, And then I was old enough to sort of like go to the shops with my friends, and that's when you start choosing your own clothes.
Yeah.
I was so out of my depth. I didn't know how to dress. I didn't really see women that looked like me reflected in the media, really.
Yeah.
All the magazines we were reading, I didn't know what to wear. And if I did try and dress like the ladies in the magazines who looked beautiful, it didn't quite fit my body. And I think that led me to then feel a bit bad about myself. And then I think I dealt with that by eating lots of food. And then that was sort of like a bad cycle.
Spiral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just wear sports clothes a lot, but so that I could expand into them. I didn't use them for sport. I used them because they were comfortable. And yeah, I think I went even more tomboyish and less sort of like traditionally feminine, and just didn't feel like I fit in.
But now you've come through cancer. You've got Audrey sitting here. Yeah. Can you explain what Audrey actually means to you physically first, just so that I can understand that? And then I want to move on to the dressing around her. You know, I think about having a stoma on you and running a marathon.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of friction. And do you tape it down to...
Great question, actually. Yeah, you're so right. I didn't.
That's the practical side of me.
No, that's a really good question, because I think that when I first decided to do the marathon, I went online to see if other ostomates had done marathons, and I couldn't find much information because it is tricky, it is hard. So anything that I eat or drink will essentially come out of the stoma and into my stoma bag.
Right.
So a lot of people don't realise that the stoma is a bit of my intestine that's now out the front of my body. So
literally comes out from the inside. Okay.
Yeah, so I have a piece of intestine that's actually on the outside of my body now. People won't realise as well that it moves on its own.
Oh my goodness.
It is strange sometimes.
So she is a little human being, a little person.
Cheeky monkey, yeah, she's naughty. Yeah, so it'll move. So as you digest, your body doesn't know it's not attached, so it'll move.
Right.
And then any output, as it's called, will go into the bag. So I've got the intestine there and then a bag that goes over it.
Yeah.
But you're quite right. If anybody wants to take on the challenge of a marathon, you'll know that the main thing is, apart from training, hydration and nutrition.
Yep.
You have to fuel yourself properly. But how do you do that if essentially everything that you eat and drink is going to come straight out?
Yeah.
So this is like a non-stop tap.
Wow. Okay.
So the moment I put stuff in, so I'm drinking coffee now. The coffee's going to come out in about an hour, I think.
Right.
So I have to make sure.
Thanks for giving me an hour.
Yeah. So I have to always make sure that I know where toilets are.
Yeah.
Just in case my bag fills up and I need to empty it.
Yeah. But how do you manage that physically when in a 3.5 hour? I mean, your time was extraordinary. Hello.
Thank you.
Record breaking. But that's another thing. But so how did you manage that?
Yeah, it was like spinning plates, and I almost had to only take on enough hydration and fuel to sort of get used up live in the race, because if I had too much, it would have ended up in the bag and I'd have to stop and then not be able to set a Guinness World Record. So it was a constant sort of like battle. And going back to what you said about friction, we have these running belts that help sort of like secure the stoma.
Right.
But in the training, because my body was still recovering from cancer and chemo, I did get a lot of friction, and I'd end up with a lot of blood in the bag, unfortunately.
Yeah. Wow.
Because it's essentially like soft tissue on your body, and that friction will make it bleed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a constant sort of like tweaking and a constant battle.
But I mean, do you literally have to tape down the stoma bag, or do you wear sort of a tighter undergarment to keep it in place?
Yeah, I've got like a Spanx almost. So it's a piece of material that goes just over like the bag, and I sort of like tuck the bag in. And so it's like an elasticated
keep it
belt.
Secure.
Yeah. It's that sort of thing.
Wow. And so you went on Guinness Book of Records.
Yes.
Amazing. When in your sort of normal running activity, what's your favourite running brand, kit?
Another great question. So because my feet are still sensitive from chemo, so I'm 2 years out, and I didn't realise this about chemotherapy.
Yes, because it leaves the base of your feet quite numb, can it?
Yes. So I have neuropathy and also very sensitive hands and feet. And so I use these really big trainers that a lot of people laugh at, but I need them. And it's a brand called Hoka or Hoka.
Oh, yes, yes.
And they do like a really big comfy shoe, and that's what I run in.
Yeah.
But my feet are starting to heal now, so I can probably get lighter trainers, but I love big comfy trainers.
And then the rest of your kit?
Oh, yeah. So here's a hack for anybody who maybe wants to get fit. When I first started getting fit, I started walking. I never used to run. I just promised myself to walk every day. And I just went to local Sports Direct. I went to Primark and I just bought the cheapest kit to make sure that I had no excuses. And I put it out in the morning and it's like, that's your outfit. You're getting dressed in that and you're doing the exercise. So a lot of my kit is stuff left over from when I was much bigger. And I had like really cheap Primark gear. So that's what I run in just because I like it, and it reminds me of how far I've come.
That's lovely. That's lovely. I know that when you go through chemo, your skin can get hypersensitive.
Yeah.
What did you reach for during that time? What were your favourite sort of comfort clothes?
Another great question.
I do try.
Just sort of like oversized. Some jumpsuits, sort of like, the onesies that you can get that are kind of fleecy.
Yeah.
So would that be called a onesie, not a jumpsuit? Yeah.
Well, one or the other. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So things like that. And then also I'd wear like a lot of track suits because when you first get a stoma, they're quite sore.
Yeah.
So you need trousers that go above them or underneath them, or at least like say something you can expand into.
Yeah. And were you very aware of the weight of your clothes?
Definitely, yeah. Lighter clothes.
Yeah.
Because like you say, the skin was very sensitive, and I'm obsessed with socks. So I used to put socks on with this cream called Bag Balm and urea cream, because it used to treat my feet and keep the soles of my feet on, because if I didn't do that, they'd like come off.
Because of the chemo?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Now, I know you and your life partner of 20 years, congratulations.
Thank you.
Kate Holderness, who's here with us today. You're keen LGBT campaigners.
Yeah.
What's your favourite Pride look?
These questions are so amazing. We try and complement each other. So I've got this thing in my head about hers and hers, because you don't really see that. And so I think it's interesting when you have two women that are different style-wise. We're also different in our backgrounds. So like we look totally different. And we try and sort of dress in our own way, but complement each other. So it's almost like it reminds me of the top of a wedding cake. So I guess I'm the groom and Kate's the bride. We always try.
And do you do that on a daily basis?
Not on a daily basis, but if we come and try and impress someone like you, we try and coordinate. So hopefully we've got that right today.
You really have.
Yes.
My goodness. Lovely.
But I think, we try, if we go to an event, complement each other, but I try and dress in things that make me feel comfortable, and Kate dresses in things that make her feel comfortable.
Lovely. Now, if you were ever to get married, what do you think you'd wear?
You see, this is the reason I've not got married, Amanda, because I don't know what to wear.
Oh, stop it.
I'm being serious. Clothes really overwhelm me. So I get... Kate has to pick her moments when she takes me shopping, because I just get really overwhelmed with choice. And so if you came to my house, you'd see Kate's rail, which is like beautiful, and it's like all the colours of the rainbow, and mine is just like black, 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 and maybe one white top. So I don't know whether I'd wear a dress or wear sort of like maybe a jumpsuit, because I feel like jumpsuits are starting to be my thing now. And I also don't know if Audrey will be there, because eventually Audrey will get reversed. So I guess
Will
I'll have...
she?
Yeah.
So we'll have a bye-bye Audrey moment.
I know, yeah.
And I wonder if your style will change then or not. Because it feels like you're really now discovering your own style.
Yeah. Getting a stoma made me love my body for the first time. I remember seeing myself in the mirror and for the first time feeling connected to my body and appreciating it and seeing it as beautiful. And I know that sounds like really strange to maybe some people, but I was just like, for the first time, I loved myself.
Yeah.
And it's because I realised what that body had been through to keep me alive. And I just felt so grateful. So you're right. I think I'm starting to find my style, but I think if Audrey wasn't here, I might just have slightly tighter clothes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Now, as a DJ, how did you go about choosing your looks?
Yeah. So I got into radio, I think, because you couldn't see the radio DJ, and then they changed it all and they made everything like
Very visual.
visualized. And I was like, oh, great.
Listen, even a podcast is visual.
So again, I think I just tried to. What's really cool about radio DJs is that essentially your work clothes are who you are.
Yeah.
So you can really like express yourself. So I think that just like sporty things, I never felt out of place in a radio studio because you can be like cool and be who you are and nobody questions it. Whereas maybe if I worked in an office, people would be like, why have you got a hoodie on? You know, or might ask about like why haven't you got a uniform on, or why have you not got like an office look? But I think, yeah, as a DJ, I'd wear like a lot of sort of like sports clothes, but dress them up with like nice trainers or whatever. So some of it's sort of like streetwear is like quite fashionable now, isn't it? So yeah.
Now I know that you obviously interviewed a lot of very famous people. Were you, for example, when you interviewed Mel B, who I know you were a big fan of, were you very conscious of what you put on for that interview?
I think as I went further in my career, definitely. But at the start, I wasn't awake enough to myself to dress nice. I got it wrong a lot of the time. And I was a lot bigger back then. So I think I just tried to pass as a normal human. You know what I mean? So tried not to attract attention.
Yeah.
But if I interviewed Mel B now, I would give her the works. Yeah, I would really try and impress her.
And out of interest, would you ever try and mirror the person that you were interviewing in terms of mirroring their style?
I don't think I would do that consciously, but like you've said to me today, I try and immerse myself in their world. So I would do a lot of reading about them and watching other interviews that they've done to get a sense of who they are.
Yeah.
And then turn up on the day and try and have an engaging chat, you know, like we're having now. But so I don't know if subconsciously I might pick up a bit of their style, but I think I try and hopefully create an environment where that person can let their aura shine through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say you're in the process of discovering your style?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think brands are getting better at attracting women like me. I think that diversity is getting much better and representation. I don't see many brands that maybe work with models who have stomas. So I think things like that can be improved. I know that a lot of people with stomas struggle because they don't see themselves reflected. And it's a non-visible disability. So by design, people don't really have them on show. And so as much as possible, I try and talk about mine. And Kate and I recently went on a holiday to Malta, and I just made sure that I was out and about on the beach, you know, in a bikini with my stoma showing.
Yeah.
And luckily, well, not luckily, but thankfully, nobody batted an eyelid.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's getting better.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more and more women that are being represented now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I'm getting better at dressing, and I think the industry's getting better at welcoming people like me.
And when you say people like me, are you referring to the stoma?
Not really. I think it's more probably women that don't feel feminine, but in the traditional sense of feminine. I think that's what it is. And I understand now I am feminine. It's just that I didn't realise.
And you didn't feel feminine for a long time. Do you remember when you first started not feeling feminine, or did you ever feel feminine?
Yeah, no, I've never felt feminine. And like I say, when thinking back, because I try and do a lot of soul searching now, I was never referred to as feminine. I was always told you're like a boy, or you're a tomboy, or yeah.
But do you think that was a bit chicken and egg? Because you were referred to like that, you felt more tomboyish, more masculine?
I think you're right. Yeah. I think I was saying this the other day. I used to see women like Grace Jones, and I'd be like, she's so beautiful, and she, to me, was feminine. But people, when I was younger, would say that she was like a man, or she'd be like the baddie in the Bond movie. And I think it's just little subconscious things like that that make you feel like, oh, she's not feminine. And it's like, looking back, she's so feminine, she's so stunning, she's so beautiful. But I think it's just unhelpful messaging when you're a child and you don't quite understand.
Yes, because so much just you absorb subconsciously.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why I'm trying to get better and trying to be more vocal, because hopefully it doesn't happen to other kids around the country that feel like they don't quite fit in. And so there's something wrong with them, because there's not.
Which brands do you find you are sort of most drawn to?
Kate's helping me get better in terms of designer brands, because I think that, again, self-worth, I didn't feel like I deserved to wear designer brands. So now I look to a lot of Korean artists. So I love K-pop, and I love a lot of like the boys that are in the boy bands, because they're effeminate. So they're almost like a halfway house. They're men, but they're very feminine.
Yes, they're quite gender fluid, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, totally. So now I'll see what they're wearing, and I'm like, I like that, I'll wear that. So they wear a lot of designer brands, but they sort of like mix it with streetwear. So they might have, say, like a Louis V bag and sort of like Adidas trainers.
Yeah.
Or you see the Y3 collaboration with Adidas, or Stella McCartney might work with Adidas. And I think that's a happy house for me.
Yeah. Now, you talked about trainers earlier. So which are your favourite? Are you a big collector of trainers?
I'm getting better at collecting trainers. Again, I used to limit myself because I used to think that I was being selfish and self-indulgent. So I'm getting better, and I think there's a question that might be coming up that I won't ruin the answer to. But
no, go for it.
Oh, should I just say it?
Just go.
Okay,
just say it.
My most expensive item of clothing is now a pair of Chanel trainers.
Oh,
but
wonderful.
I didn't buy them from the shop. I got them on the same site that I got this jumpsuit from.
Now, which site was this? You're going to have to ask Kate, aren't you?
I think I can.
Kate, which site was it?
Is that all right? Is it Really Loved Again? Yes.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and it's near here, actually. It's in Chelsea. Sorry, am I allowed to say where we are? Oh. Is that okay?
It's fairly obvious where we are, because there's sort of
the
river,
bridge gives
the
it
bridges, everything gives it away.
And I love the idea of that. I feel like I can stomach that. So designer brands, but cheaper, that you can give a new home to. It's more sustainable. And these Chloe trainers, like, they come with their own bag, which is amazing, because I've never had trainers that come with a bag, and they're my favourite possession, and I wear them for best.
Do you? And they're not too heavy?
No, they're very light. They're sort of like they're similar to the ones I've got on today, actually, just like a bit of a smaller heel and like a fabric upper.
Yeah, no, they're good ones, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Now, if I were to ask Kate how to describe your style DNA in 3 words, what do you think? What 3 words would those be?
Okay, I think comfortable, quiet, I think. And I won't say the word unassuming, and I don't know why.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I was going to say confident, but I think I'm still working on my confidence. So eventually it will be confident. But I think, unassuming. I like to sort of blend into the background.
Love that. Let's talk about dancing on ice for a second. How did you feel about your skating costumes? Did you have input in that?
No.
Or do they just literally say you're dancing to, was your partner choosing the music? How did the whole process work?
That's another great question. I did dance on ice because I wanted to raise awareness for ostomate. So all I was thinking is go on there with a stoma, try your best.
I remember watching you in one performance thinking, my heart was in my mouth thinking, please don't drop her, because you were just so beautiful and frail looking. And I just thought, oh my God, actually for you to take a big tumble at that stage would not have been funny.
That's right. So in training, I broke my wrist, actually. And luckily it healed just in time for the show, because otherwise I would have been off the show. But because my body was still recovering from chemo again, my bones are very fragile. So I couldn't dance, I couldn't perform, and I couldn't skate. So they had to teach me everything from scratch. And then there's this amazing team that I think works on Strictly. So the team that work in wardrobe, and the team that work in the music, I think also work on Strictly as well. So they're very good at sort of getting a sense of the person and giving them a song that will bring the best out in them. So what I did was I gave that, because I'm a DJ, I gave them a Spotify playlist of all the things that I like.
Did they ask you for that, or you just
I offered,
volunteered?
yeah. And they're like, thanks. But a lot of the songs on that playlist that we ended up using. And then in terms of the makeup and the wardrobe, I was just like, go for your life. I said, make it, drag me up. I was like, I want to be like I'm on RuPaul's Drag Race. Give me the eyelashes, which I've been inspired by, so I now wear eyelashes. Give me the wigs, do what you want with me. Because I just thought, throw yourself in and see what happens. And yeah, for the first time, I think that's when people actually said I look like a woman, it made me feel good, and I was like,
I was going to say,
okay.
did it take you out of your comfort zone at all?
It did, but I just loved it. I loved looking in the mirror and being like, who is she? I remember my family would text me each week and go, we didn't know you were that one, because you come out on the ice at the start, and they could never spot me. And it took them a while to see which one was me. And I think I even surprised them as well. So it was a wonderful experience. I got a lot from it.
Do you ever look at pictures of women, or actually men, and think, that's where I'm going to stylistically?
Absolutely. So we were speaking about Harry Styles before.
Yeah.
I love whoever styles him and the way he dresses, and I would wear a lot of his clothes.
Yeah.
I do like androgynous clothes.
Yeah.
Again, when I was younger, I used to love Boy George and I used to love Grace Jones. But I kind of had to love them in secret because people thought they were weird, but I just thought they were fabulous and amazing.
Yeah.
And so I like where the two meet.
I think you're still on a style journey, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
But clearly excited by it.
Definitely. It's a new string to my bow. I didn't realise how much it can do for you holistically. And like we were talking before about being positive, I now know that clothes can make you feel positive.
Yeah. Would you say you dress for yourself, or do you dress for Kate?
Yes, definitely for myself. Kate sometimes suggests things and I'm like, no, babes, that's not going to work. So, yeah, if I don't feel comfortable, I can't wear it really. Yeah.
And we were talking earlier, actually, before we started recording, about this word femininity. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's a word I never felt connected to growing up as a girl. I knew I was female, but I didn't ever feel like I belonged. And if I went into shops on the high street, I'd always gravitate to the men's bit because I didn't feel like the ladies' side fit me. I'd feel silly speaking to the... Sorry, I'm going to get upset, I think.
No.
Yeah.
But it's part of your journey. It's beautiful. And this, so many people will relate to this.
Yeah. I just felt like I'd be judged if I was in shops and they'd think, why are you in here?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, my
Thank
goodness. Because when I had my store, it was one of the most important things for me was how the staff greeted the customers, because actually it's clothes. This is not life or death. This should enhance us and uplift us. Mm-hmm. No one should ever be judging each other about our choices. This is just about between our naked selves and the rest of the world. I sometimes talk about clothes being our armour. Would you say you've ever used clothes in that way?
I think only in the sense if I was playing sport, I'd feel part of a team and I'd feel included.
Yeah.
And so I think when I was younger, I'd love a uniform.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I belonged then. But if I had to choose the clothes, that's when I felt really out of my depth and I felt really insecure. And so I'd try and cover myself up.
Out of interest, were you in a uniform at school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the way through to sixth form as well. And I remember being so happy that we had to wear uniform in sixth form. And a lot of the girls were like, oh, because they were expressing themselves.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes.
Yes, you could hide behind it.
Yeah.
Do you think you're sort of evolving a bit of a uniform yourself now?
Yes, definitely. And that's a word that Kate and I use to help me at least start somewhere with clothes. So we'll talk about my uniform, what sort of colours would be in my uniform. So I'm starting to be more adventurous now. So have like lighter colours and mix black with navy, which somebody told me you shouldn't do.
Oh, that's rubbish. I love black and navy. It's so chic. It really is. The French would always say black and navy are perfect together.
Excellent.
But I have this abhorrence of rules in clothing.
Okay.
Rules in colours. There's people who do your colours and say, Adele, you should never wear this, or you are an autumn or a spring. Just really.
Thank you, Amanda.
No. So it's about
Okay.
it's about putting something on.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel?
Right.
Looking in the mirror. How do I think I look?
Okay, cool. So
Another
start
good
there,
one
yeah.
is a wardrobe selfie. It's and then look at that picture and think, do I like how that woman in that picture looks?
Right, great tip. All right, great. Thank you. No, I'm learning all the time. Honestly,
Which is wonderful. I mean, I think we should always be just trying things, as we change and evolve.
Yeah. How weird though that I've got to the age of like 45 and never felt like clothes are for me. Like everybody wears clothes and I've got this old.
Adele, in my experience, that's nothing. I talk to women who are, turning 60 and think they have just found their style.
Okay. All right, cool.
So just enjoy the journey.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
God, this is like style therapy, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
What would you say you reach for when you want to feel empowered?
I think definitely black. I do love black. I feel like in a way it's the superhero within me. I feel like you say, an armor. Black is my armor. But I've started to like quite nice tailored things. I understand now how good tailoring can really make you feel good. Like even the fact that this has got shoulder pads, I'd never wear shoulder pads before, and it just makes you you hold yourself differently.
Yeah. Gives you a lovely structure, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For everything to fall from.
Yeah. So I think I try and have like nice fitted or tailored jackets now, probably in darker colours, but yeah, try and have something that helps me feel confident on the inside.
And when you want to feel cocooned, what's stay-at-home, chill-out Adele wearing?
Yeah, that's when I get my elastic waistbands. That's probably when I get the trackies on.
And for you, what is the sexiest look for you to wear?
That's an interesting question because I don't think I ever feel sexy in anything. Do you know now? I think anything that shows Audrey. So I've started to see I would never wear bikinis before. I wouldn't even go swimming. I wouldn't even wear a swimsuit. But bikinis with Audrey, I just feel like, oh my God, that looks amazing. And I don't know why.
It does, actually. I will say, looking at those images of you on Instagram, really chapeau to
Great,
you. Fantastic.
thank you.
Fantastic. Do you think you've got a style icon?
I think it would have to be Grace Jones.
I thought you were going to say that.
And again, I sent her loads of pictures of her to the team at Dancing on Ice. They probably ignored them, but I was like, can I look like that?
Yeah, because she was so brave and bold.
Oh, amazing. And those pictures of her in Studio 54, with like the hooded tops and like the big, like sort of, I don't know how to describe it more.
I find that quite interesting because her looks are very brave and bold.
Yeah.
And yet you're being quite apologetic to me about your style choices.
Yeah.
And so I find it very interesting that you've got that sort of dichotomy going on. So I think there's a whole braver, bolder Adele emerging. Yeah. You've been warned, Kate. Are you very conscious of your beauty routine?
I do have to be now, especially post chemo, because I've got very sensitive skin and very scarred skin, actually. So the chemotherapy burnt a lot of my face.
Wow,
so,
and your skin looks amazing.
Thank you.
It really does.
It's certain types of makeup that's quite heavy to try and sort of like make all my skin the same colour. I use a lot of La Roche. Their products are amazing, and I know that it's quite kind to post chemo skin as well. A lot of their products. I've just started trying their new range, which is called Mela 3, I think it's called. But yeah, I make sure I take care of my skin. I make sure I wash it properly at night, take all my makeup off, and have a lot of like retinol, especially now I'm getting older.
Stop it, hardly. And beautiful lashes.
Yes, so I've kept the lashes from Dancing on Ice. I would never wear lashes before, but I quite like how they sort of like, because I've got no hair now, I feel like it's more hair.
Yes, but it's lovely. I mean, I think lashes always sort of really open up an eye, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I've learned that lesson, yeah.
But I love the little sort of very neat little hair look. I think
Thank you.
it really suits you, and especially with the lashes and the big smile.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
It's easy to manage because before COVID, I used to straighten my hair a lot. And I just thought, why are you doing this? Like, have natural hair. But then my natural hair was quite hard to manage. And so I thought, well, I lost a lot of my hair due to the chemo. And when I cut it off, I just thought, it's natural. It's easy to manage. Keep it.
Oh, yeah. Good on you. I mean, lucky you. Have you, obviously you're doing a lot that's quite high profile now with all the different sort of appearances, etc. Have you ever worked with a stylist?
No, and apart from if I've been lucky enough to have an interview, maybe with, say, Hello Magazine, they'll send a stylist. And I always look forward to how they see me and what they dress me in. It feels like I get to be somebody else for the day.
And will you say no to if they've got something that just you don't feel very you in?
Yeah, if I didn't feel comfortable, I would. But quite often, I'll try things and just ask why not. Because I think I'm trying to undo all that unhelpful messaging that I had when I was younger. So I'll be like, okay, well, why not try that? And so far, so good, actually.
Any particular outfit that stands out as one that really surprised you? Maybe it was pink, or maybe it was feathery, or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So on this shoot with Hello, there was a lovely stylist called Kate Barber who I worked with, and she gave me a jumper similar to yours and a pink skirt that sort of, I think you'd call it A-line, is it? Where it comes out at the bottom, and I think it had feathers on the bottom.
Oh, lovely.
And it's totally something I wouldn't wear. And she dressed me in that, and I was like, oh my God, I love it. So yeah.
I think, Kate, this is sounding expensive. As a woman of influence, do you get gifted an awful lot of clothes by brands and stores trying to promote?
Yeah. I don't, to be honest. There are a few brands that have sent me jumpsuits, which is great. A brand called Wild Clouds, who I love. But I think that Kate and I are trying to be more vocal. We're trying to show up a bit more. So hopefully in the future we could do that, because I want other women that identify with us to see us and go, oh, that is something that maybe I could wear. Because I do still struggle, and I still, as I'm walking up and down the high street, try and spot women or men and try and copy what they're doing, because I don't know how to do it for myself. But I'll see someone and go, oh, I really like the way that you look confident. Could I maybe try something similar? Yeah. So I think because Kate and I are lucky enough to have a platform, I'll try and sort of like share clothes that make me feel good as much as possible.
Yeah. No, I think that's wonderful. Would you say you've had a worst fashion moment?
Oh gosh, yeah, definitely. When I came off Big Brother, I was always in the worst dress lists, always.
Oh no!
I know, but I think magazines were much meaner then. I don't know if I'd make them as much now.
Do you remember one specific that just sort of stands out?
Yeah, so I had... I can't believe I'm telling you this. So I had...
It's all right, we're not going to put a picture up. I promise
You'll
you.
You'll find it.
No.
So I had, and I don't know why I wore this, but I think that's the problem with not dressing like yourself, trying to dress how you think you should dress. I had a Playboy bunny T-shirt with a Vivienne Westwood kilt and like these stiletto boots. It was, honestly, I did look terrible. I looked like an absolute mess. At the time, that was the best I could do.
Did it make you feel good?
No.
No, okay. Then that didn't work. Let's talk about travel. Do you have a go-to travel look?
Yeah, so again, the Korean pop stars have an airport look, which I've learned about.
Oh, I know. It's a thing.
I didn't know it was a thing. So I try and be smart now for the airport, because I thought it was just you go in like the things you don't want to wear on holiday. You don't want to waste an outfit. So I used to go like an absolute mess. But now I try and dress quite chic. So I'll often wear black, but I would now maybe wear the Chanel trainers to the airport and pair it with like a nice trouser and a nice top, so that when I'm going through security, I try and not get padded down now. They always used to be like, we need to check you, but now I seem to get through. So I must look better.
Would it bother you to be padded down?
Not at all.
No.
I understand that they're just doing a job. I think the only thing is sometimes especially in other countries, they'll feel my stoma and think it's potentially something. So I have to discreetly say it's a stoma or show them.
Yeah.
So that's the only bit I worry about now. Yeah.
Are you a good packer or a bad packer?
Really bad. So Kate packs my case, and then she gets mad because when we go on holiday, I don't take the things out of the case. So I live from the suitcase. She hates it, but she says it's good because she gets all the wardrobe space.
Ah, right. So there's silver linings in that. Do you have a favourite luggage?
We've just found this brand called July, and we quite like that brand. But again, before that, it was just anything that would fit my clothes in. So it didn't used to be.
So if you're going away for longer than overnight, how many bags do you honestly take?
I have to take a lot more clothes now because Audrey needs clothes.
Right.
So I have to take a lot of things. So when I travel, I'll have pads that I sleep on in hotel rooms in case I have a leakage in the night. I take spare colostomy bags. So Audrey has a wardrobe and I have a wardrobe. So my bags are slightly more
So it's all
bulgy
Audrey's
now.
fault, is it?
This is it. She's a diva.
She is such a diva. Which brand would you say is your guilty secret?
Is that because it's expensive or because...
Just maybe you buy more than most would from there, or I mean, it could even be a site, like
Reloved Again. It's starting to be Reloved Again. I'm obsessed with it. I'm on there every day to see what new stuff they've got in. But I think I've found that Zara clothes fit me really well. Yeah. I love their clothes, especially their women's clothes, because usually I can't shop in women's clothes. Women's shop for women. So Zara...
Now, why is that?
Just the fit doesn't feel quite right to me. Yeah. But Zara seems to fit me because since I've lost weight, I'm also now a strange, small shape, because I'm not very tall. So
strange.
So Zara fits really nicely.
And if you had a money no object brand, what would that be?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Now I've got into my designer brands. Let me think. The shop that me and Kate always, we have a ritual on a Sunday to make ourselves feel good. We walk up and down New Bond Street. Yeah. And I always look in the window and hope one day I can shop in there of Louis Vuitton. So that would be my ideal brand for the future.
Now, what is it about Vuitton that makes you desire it so much? Now.
I don't know. There's something about that print. There's something as well about the fact that all the K-pop bands wear it. I just love their window, even their window displays. It just makes me feel like I belong in there. Whereas some of the other designer brands, I'd look at it and go, oh, Kate would love that. But there's just a vibration that comes through the window where I'm like, one day I'll be able to shop there and buy something from there.
Now, you say you go on Sundays. Why not during the week and go in and go into the store and explore it?
That's a good idea. We've never had the courage to go in. So I just look through the window. Okay, right. So I'm going to go. Shall I go on a Monday and go in?
when they're particularly quiet, and then you'll be very very looked after by the stuff. No, but I'm a big fan of just going in and trying things on.
You see, wow, you
take yourself out of your comfort zone.
Okay, all right. I'll try it. I'll give it a go.
Would you say you've got an excessive amount of anything in particular in your wardrobe?
Socks. I love socks. I don't know why.
Has that come from post-chemo?
Yes, it's been worsened by post-chemo, but I just love socks. And I've got loads of them, and I love sleeping in socks.
Favourite sock brand or...?
Stance are very good, but they're running socks. But no, I'll take any socks.
You haven't got into sort of cashmere bed socks or...?
Well, I've heard you talking about cashmere, and I had to say to Kate, what is cashmere? Because I don't really understand why it's good.
Once touched, never forgotten.
Okay, all right. So, Louis Vuitton and cashmere socks.
Oh, you are in for an expensive time, girl. But actually, the thing about cashmere is it's a natural fibre, and it's sort of the real king of fibres. And, if you look after it, it will look after you. You'll own something for 20 years.
Is it dry clean though, or can you wash it?
You can wash it.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, you can wash it gently.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Big fan of washing cashmere. So when buying an expensive piece, have you ever justified it with pounds per wear?
that's a good way of doing it. I haven't actually.
Oh dear, I can feel that one coming on.
I think my most expensive purchases, though, are for other people, and I'll buy expensive things for Kate. And I keep trying to make her let me, because we've been together for 20 years, I wanted to get her something to celebrate that. And I wanted to get her, I can't remember the name. Oh, yeah, a Birkin.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
you generous girl.
And she won't accept it. She says she doesn't want a Birkin, but I want to, that will be my most expensive purchase when I finally get her to accept it. But she just won't have one, and I don't know why.
But you don't know why.
No.
Is it the price or is it how it looks?
It's probably because I've realised as well recently that you don't have to be invited to buy them anyway. I don't even know.
You probably buy them on Reloved.
Second-hand Birkin.
Second-hand Birkin. Give a Birkin a new life. What's your approach to sustainable fashion?
Oh, I love sustainable fashion. So Wild Clouds that I mentioned before, they're sustainable. I understand the responsibility to the planet, and I understand that there's a lot of disposable clothing, and there's a lot of people that make clothing that aren't paid well. And so, Kate and I try and be more responsible with our choices.
And what do you do with your clothes once you've had enough of them?
We try and donate them, or we'll give them to family members, or we will put them in the recycle bins. Quite a lot of supermarkets have those now, but we always try and dispose of them properly.
Yeah, lovely. Do you ever buy vintage?
I don't think I do, because I feel like if it's vintage, I get scared of like who's had it on. No,
and yet you buy from Reloved.
Yeah, because I feel for some reason it's only had one owner, whereas like I feel like vintage, I feel like loads of people have had it on, and I don't know where it's been.
And does that slightly...
I don't know why.
No, you're not the only person that I've spoken to that feels a bit sort of creeped out by something having been on different people's bodies.
That's it. Yeah, and I feel like sometimes you can sense them. So I feel like with Reloved, it's had like one lady owner.
Probably has had 50 lady owners, but anyhow, I love the fact that you're going that way.
That's the story I'm telling myself.
What is the oldest piece in your wardrobe?
Well, a while ago, when I was on Big Brother, and that didn't go very well for me, the wonderful team at Vivienne Westwood were very kind to me and invited me in and gave me some clothes. So the kilt I mentioned before, they gave that to me. They took me to their warehouse and gave me some of their old sample clothes.
Oh, lovely.
Which was incredible.
You must have had a riot in there.
Well, again, I didn't know what I was doing. So in the end, they almost had to give me clothes because I wouldn't pick anything. And there's one of those classic Vivienne Westwood booby T-shirts. And I've got one of those and I love it. And I think that's probably the oldest piece of clothing because I think it was from when she first made them back in the 80s, I think it might have been, late 70s. And I adore that T-shirt. So that's safely stored.
Now, do you adore it for the memory of going to the warehouse and that sort of quite a special memory, really, or because of how it looks?
I think definitely for the memory of them being so kind to me and welcoming when a lot of people weren't. But I think secondly, because of the type of woman Vivienne Westwood was. And also in the 80s, there was a lot of things that weren't very helpful, but music, I loved music and I loved the punk scene. I loved the rebellious nature. And I feel like, again, I belonged a bit, a part of my soul understood. My first ever song that I got was Adam and the Ants, Prince Charming, and I just love that sort of like thrashy nature of punk. I love disco as well, but definitely punk, and I love the fact that they were just like did what they wanted.
Were you inspired by Adam's costumes at all?
Absolutely, I thought he was stunning. So I
was beautiful,
him.
Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Way before. I mean, he was early sort of gender fluid dressing, wasn't he?
Yeah, and that's one thing I loved about the 80s, that the men looked like women. You know, that they would wear mascara.
Yes, mascara.
And have eyeliner. Like, I loved all the new romantics. And yes, I absolutely adored all that.
Brilliant. Right, time for some quick-fire questions. Okay. What fashion advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Oh, gosh, I would just say get over it and start expressing yourself.
Which fashion trend would you most like to see make a comeback?
Speaking of the 80s, electric blue mascara.
Wow.
I used to love any woman that wore that. I used to think they were a supermodel. If you had that on back in the day, I'd be like, my God, you're so beautiful.
What fashion or beauty trend would you consign to room 101?
Right, so sorry to any fellow runners that have these, but they creep me out as much as what we were saying about vintage clothes and where they might have been. But you know those trainers where you can see people's toes?
Oh. Right, 101 for those. Your last impulse buy.
I try and leave it in the shop for 24 hours to know if I really want it, but it probably would be something like technology-wise, because I love buying tech.
Yeah.
So probably just like, AirPods or whatever.
I love that theory of leaving something for 24 hours. I'm a big fan of that, by the way. Your views on tattoos.
I love tattoos, but I don't have them.
Beauty treatment you couldn't give up?
My new skin routine, so looking after my skin, nice stuff.
High end or high street?
The majority of my clothes are high street, but I want to be high end.
Bling or bear?
Definitely bling. I don't suit bling, but I love people in bling.
Couture or charity shop?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. It'd have to be couture. I don't really own much, but yeah.
Crocs, cute or puke?
Sorry, Dad, puke.
Sneakers or stilettos?
Definitely sneakers.
Boyfriends or wide legs? In jeans?
Oh, right, okay. I was like, I haven't got a boyfriend.
No, sorry. Girlfriends or wide legs?
That is so funny, the image in my head. Are boyfriends the baggier ones?
They are.
Yeah, boyfriends.
Sports luxe or rock chick?
Is that 3? No, sports looks.
Sports luxe or rock chick?
Sports looks.
Yeah. Red carpet or relax?
Relax.
Trend or style?
Style.
Colour or monochrome?
Monochrome.
Experimental or uniform?
Uniform.
Cashmere or cotton?
Cashmere.
Hoarder or editor?
Oh, editor.
Shapewear or sexy lingerie?
Oh, gosh. Shapewear.
Tights or stockings or hold-ups?
Oh, tights.
Bikini or one piece?
Bikini.
Beanie or beret?
I'm going to go beret. I've never tried a beret, but I think, I'd like to try.
Feeling that coming on.
Yeah.
And finally, at the end of the day, what do you or don't you wear in bed?
Socks.
Oh, I love that. Adele, thank you for your open and honest and heartfelt answers. Absolutely beautiful. I've loved our conversation.
Me too. And thank you for all the mentoring.
Sorry, that was...
No, it's good.
I can't help myself, can I?
I need it.
Thank you.